Good afternoon. It's a beautiful fall afternoon here in Florida. It's finally gotten to be more like the temperature we're used to. It's not freezing cold, but it's just beautiful outside. So we're ready for something sweet. What we're doing right now is we're making some components of some things that we're going to make. So what we're going to do right now is make some apple pie filling because we're going to make some hand pies. Look at these little things. Are they not the cutest things ever? Look at this pumpkin. But what we'll do is roll out the pie dough. We have one side that will cut it into this shape. We'll pick it up and we'll put it on the inside. We'll fill it, and then this side we'll crimp it shut. And then we'll bake them in the oven. We will have very adorable hand pies. We're going to do some of them apple, and we're going to do some of them pumpkin. So what we're doing right now is making the apple pie filling. We'll make it, let it cool, and we'll put it in the refrigerator, and we'll be ready to use it when it's time to make the pies. So what we need, we're doubling this apple pie filling recipe. So when I post the recipe in the directions, you'll know that it only makes one recipe and we're making two. So remember that when you're looking at the recipe. So it called for 2 tablespoons of butter, but we're doubling it. So we put in 4 tablespoons of butter, and it's melted. That's half a stick. If you measure butter the way I always have, half a stick. To that half a stick of butter, we're going to add 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. If I find the teaspoon measure, we will do that. 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. Now, apple pie filling is a very personal thing. My little cinnamon things are a little bit heaping. I love cinnamon, so I'm going to put cinnamon in here. If you like nutmeg or ginger or any of those other fall kind of apple pie spices, you are certainly welcome to add those. Make this yours. Make it be your recipe. So we've got our butter melted and we've added the cinnamon. Smells delicious. And then we're going to add our apples. You remember from a previous video, this handy dandy little apple peeler core. I used that already, and I've already peeled and cut up my apples. So those are ready. If you need more information about this, go back to the recipe on the Jewish apple cake, and you'll see how to use that. You can always ask me a question in the comments or let me know something that you add to your apple pie filling or some of the things that make your holiday feel special. So we're going to add all of these apples into the butter and cinnamon. That's a lot of apples. It called for 4 medium apples. I had some apples that needed to be used, so I decided I could use apple pie filling if I later on. It wouldn't have to all be used for this project. It could be used later. If you see these apples, they're not necessarily uniformly cut, and that's okay. They're going to cook down and make an apple pie filling. We're also going to add some water. I'm trying to get that cinnamon and butter kind of through here with that heat for just a minute. And we're going to add 6 tablespoons of water. I have some water sitting out here in another one of my favorite things. It's my Polish pottery pitcher. Isn't that beautiful? So pretty. I said 6 tablespoons, correct? 3 for a recipe, and we're making 2. So we're going to put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, got water. And then it says we're going to cook for 4 to 6 minutes. So I'm going to let this bubble away and start to cook down, and I'll bring you back in 4 to 6 minutes when it's ready for the next step. The apples are simmering away, and we're going to use some cornstarch to thicken them up a little bit in just a minute. We cooked them a little bit longer than it said, and we'll turn them down a little bit because we want them to be nice and soft. And the cornstarch and water will help them to thicken and be more like a filling. So we're going to do that in a minute. But I wanted to show you, I showed you the pumpkin one. Is that cute? But there's also one that looks like an acorn. Oh, it's so cute. And an apple for the apple pie. Is that not adorable? We're going to make apple ones and pumpkin ones. We're not going to make any with acorns in them, but we're going to do these. I've also ordered some that are shaped like Christmas things, so I'll be doing that again. I have several orders I'm filling right now for people around Thanksgiving, so I'm working on that. I'm also going to a local market here in Florida next Saturday, the Mistletoe Market. If you're local to Dade City, Florida, and you know where that is, you can come find me there. You'll see my logo. Something sweet is about to happen, and I'll be there with all kinds of goodies. Would love to see you there. If you plan to come, tell me in the comments that you're coming. I can't wait to see you there. So what we're going to do next, we have 8 teaspoons of cornstarch measured out in this little bowl, and we're going to add to it 4 tablespoons of water. So we're going to do that right now. 4 tablespoons. 1, 2, 3. Why do we add water? Why don't we just put the cornstarch straight in the apples? It would clump up and it would make a terrible mess. So we put some water in it and we stir it together, and we call this a slurry. We make a slurry and it will thicken. It'll thicken anything you want to have thickened. It'll thicken a gravy if you need it. It's a thickening agent. That's what cornstarch does. So you stir it until you feel like all of that cornstarch is completely dissolved in the water. You can see it in there. And then we're going to pour it slowly into this pie filling, stirring while we do it. Look at those apples. Can you see them in there? I think I could just eat these with a spoon, just like this. They're a little soupy to make a pie. So we're going to pour this in. Oops, we're going to pour it everywhere, apparently, not just in. We're going to pour it into our pie filling, and we're going to stir. Okay, we're going to make sure we've got all of that out of there. We're going to stir. You can see that it's starting to thicken, which is exactly what we want. That cinnamon, it makes the house smell so holiday-like. It looks delicious. Now, this has got to cook for just a few more minutes until it gets nice and thick. It takes that cornstarch a few minutes to work. So we're going to do that. The apple pie filling will cool, and it'll go into a nice bowl and go into the refrigerator to wait until we're ready to make those hand pies. I hope you'll come back when we do that sometime in the next couple of days. So watch for it. Watch for the video that says fall hand pies, and we'll come back together and make those. I hope something very sweet is happening to you today. Have a great weekend and roll Tide.